the biscuits this time, unfortunately. I didn't see any, you know.
Don't want to feel he's had 3 penguins already.
Aye.
And a Twix.
Twix,
So we're just going to do this in 2 parts. I'm going to start off with your early career and the career at Rangers, okay?
Yeah, fine.
So, 1970, you found yourself at Yoker League amateur team?
Junior team.
Junior team,
Junior
sorry.
team, yeah. I started off with Anchor Amateurs, then I went from TD Star and to Yoker.
Okay.
For Yoker, I think it was just a season, and then ended up at Rangers, signed 1970-71, left 78-79, so.
How did that come about then? Because if you're playing amateur with Yoker, what happened? Do you get scouted? Do you have connections with Rangers, or what happened? How did that come about?
It was actually a scout. I missed a guy called Mr. Laurie Cummins. Believe it or not, the approach he made to Yoker at the time was illegal, from what I learned.
Yeah.
He caught me at half time in one of the games. The 2 managers of Yoker pulled me aside, said, Mr. Cummins wants to speak to you. And Mr. Cummins says, Jim, I'm from Rangers Football Club. Don't talk to anybody, don't speak to anybody. I'll be in touch because you'll be at Ibrox on Tuesday night. He was gone.
Yeah.
And I never really took it in. I just went, oh, well, I'll go on with the game. And that Saturday night, I think I told you before that I went out with the lads or my girlfriend, whatever it was at that time. And apparently he phoned the house, and according to my mother and things like that my father had a small refresher in him at the time. When he phoned up, and Mr. Cummins says, can I speak to Jim? And it was the usual, what you want him for? So his English was bang on, you know.
Yeah.
And he says, so Mr. Cummins, for Rangers Football Club, would like to, I meant to ask Jim a question. What school did he go to? And don't worry about that, he went to the right bloody school. He says, what is it you're looking for? He says, I want to be at Ibrox on Tuesday night. And he said, what time? He says 7. He says, right, we'll be there for 6. And really, that was it.
Yeah.
And off we went to Ibrox Tuesday night.
Did it put you off your second half performance for Yoker?
No, so I never really took it in, because I was actually more or less giving up at 20, that you've been that long and that nobody's got interested, but it seemed to have changed, that Rangers and a few other teams are starting to look at the juniors, and that was just the way it was, you know, so you just pick you up and off you went. So I went up to Ibrox, and it was Mr. Thornton was introduced to first, and he introduced and spoke about Rangers and things like that. And then in came Waddle. God, as we called him. Unbelievable. And just sat down and he says, right Jim, he says, this is the way it's going to be. I'll offer you £35, I want to sign you, and I'll give you 10 minutes to think about it. So off he went. And as I said, me and my father sat there, and I looked at my face, he says, £35, I said, what's the 60 funny? I says, I've already earning £100 a week. Don't worry about it, just sign. So eventually, Waddle come back and say, what are you doing? So I signed, so I had to drop a bit in the wages, and once I'd signed, you were straight up to the trophy room.
So if you don't mind me asking, Jim, before you signed for Rangers, when you were making your big bucks, £100 a week, what were you doing?
I was working with a contractor to British Gas. Though I'm saying that there's £100, yeah, there was a wee bit of work in the timesheet, back and forward, with weekend working and things like that. That's why we earned it, but it was a well-paid job. But yeah, I had to graph it.
It just seems unreal that we're having this conversation where somebody that signed for Rangers actually dropped from 100 to £35 a week. I mean, people nowadays wouldn't comprehend that, I don't think.
No, they probably wouldn't, because my father and I spoke, we thought that within a year or so Rangers will bump up to 100.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, know the boys that there was all argument when who get wages and what. Actually took me 7 years to get £100 a week, 7 years.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a story to that as well, so we'll get to that in a minute if that's okay, Jim. Okay. So you described Waddle as God. Yeah. What was the characteristics that made him such a kind of godlike figure to yourself?
Powerful man. A very powerful man. When you looked at him, there was this stature. There was this. You could actually feel the power from him.
Okay.
Nothing in Scottish football moved without his say-so. And as I said before, that even reporters, and this was, believe it or not, I actually remember the reporter telling me, it was Big Duke Bailey, that used to play with Rangers. He said, you wouldn't believe it, he said, tell me up to see that man, he said, I'm shite myself. I mean, that's, honestly, God, reporters were shitting themselves to go up and interview this guy.
Aye.
That's how powerful he was.
Yeah. So you signed for Rangers, and how did it, that night coming for Yoker? You know, you go to Rangers the following Tuesday. You signed for Rangers, obviously. I presume your family are Rangers. We're looking at a family background. How did that moment you signed that contract? How did you feel inside?
Kind of excited in a certain way, but not really taken it in until later on, because I wasn't expecting to get called up for about another year or so. But Yoker, or the Scottish junior team, were getting into the international programme, and apparently, for what I get told, was if Rangers didn't get me at this certain time, as soon as I got my first cap, Rangers couldn't touch me to the end of the season.
Right.
So they pulled us in, and I never got the cap, and that was it. I went full time and trained with them. And by God, I found the training hard.
Aye.
God,
Well, I can only imagine stepping up from Yoker to Glasgow Rangers with the players they had at the time. When you first walked into the dressing room, who were the kind of the first characters that you noticed or spoke to?
Oh, Henderson would be one of them. I can't mind if Colin Stein was there at the time. I don't know whether he came later. But you kind of, you John Gregg, obviously, there's your heroes. I mean, I watched Big Greg at Hampden scoring a winner against Italy, and you always thought about, well, I love to play with these guys. And then you end up doing that. But I went to the reserve side, and I think I had about seven reserve games, or eight reserve games. Played 4 different positions, and then found that when they got in the Scottish Cup final replay, they picked, I ended up in the pool, and it was me and Neil Perry, both had stayed in Paisley, and of course getting picked to go in the squad. I didn't even a suit, I had to go to buy one. And,
That's
unbelievable.
That's crazy.
And then me and Nearly walked into Paisley Cross, and we got the bus at Paisley Cross up to Ibrox House.
Please tell me it was number 9.
No, I don't know what it was.
Number 9 now.
Probably would be. And we went up to Ibrox, got the bus up to Hampden. Tom Alexander, who was a reserve right back, I had no idea I was going to get a game. And here I was at right back. I never played right back.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I got into the game, and as soon as the game had finished, I think I lost the ball, and they scored for it. But I came up against Jinky in the first part of the game. I thought I did alright against him, because then he swapped him to the outside right, and I think it was against Wally Matheson. And then there came the flying machine, Bobby Lennox, and Jesus. And we had McDonald, a great big guy to play with. He could run all day. We thought he helped me a lot in that game.
Yeah.
And we got through it. Obviously we get beat, and it was disappointing. It was after the game I spoke to Joe Wallace and says, look, I think Alec Miller deserves the medal more than me, because Alec broke his jaw in the first game, I think, after he was replacing Sandy. So I said, can I take it home and let my father see it? And he went, don't worry about it, hang on to it. John Greggs gave his medal to that. But that's typical Greggy right enough, you know.
Yeah.
But it was disappointing we lost. So once we got back to Ibrox, we got our tea and a wee bit of reception, that was it. And Neil and I walked back up to the top of the road and got the bus back to Paisley Cross.
That's mad.
Then Paisley Cross, and then a bus up to the flats.
So, did you imagine that your debut would be in the cup final replay against Celtic when you first joined Rangers? You thought, you think to yourself, my debut's going to be a cup final, or was it? Were you nervous, excited that goal?
Never get time to get nervous. No, I just sat there with the players. I wasn't even expecting it. And he's already the team, and I'm like, Chris, everybody looked at me, and I looked through my boot. And Tom Alexander, it just showed you how good a professionalist boy was. He was the first guy to stand up, shake my hand, wish me the best. And yet he must have been hurting, because I felt a wee bit for him as well.
Yeah.
That he was a guy I'd expect, because I didn't play right back in the reserve. I started off, I think, as a striker, went into midfield, and ended up at centre back. And that was it. But the first game we got was against Celtic reserves, and that was up at Parkhead. And I think I've told you a story before. We drove up in my father's car, and we're coming up this London road, and these flats were all deprived and things like that. And he says, how can people stay in a place like this? And I says, oh, it's ridiculous. So I said, it's not right. I said, remember, we're going to fill the car up on the way back, and I would do that. Well, we get beat 9-9, because it just shows you how attitudes change.
Yeah.
As soon as you come back down the road, we're fair well, that's the best place for the bastards. And there she's right, what are we talking up? We're keeping my garland, we're keeping any more, you know. That's just the way it is, but that's the way old people could have thought these days.
Yeah. No, of course, yeah.
No, it was funny, it was funny.
So, fast forward a bit, I believe that your European debut came in the 71-72 Cup Winners' Cup season, and your first European game was against Stade Rennes.
Stade Rennes, aye, that's right.
Yeah.
I came on as a sub, I think it was for Steenie, and I enjoyed it, and I got booked that game. The ball get played through to me. I thought it was onside, but I think I was too quick for the linesman as well. And the whistle obviously went, but I didn't hear it. And I still shot for goals, but I missed the bloody target. But and I turned around, here's the referee booked me, which I thought was a wee bit harsh. Anyway, killed a couple of seconds, you know. But I'm on, and that was that, you know. So
good. And you didn't play every game at Rangers during your career, but you would what would we call now a kind of utility player, or
yeah.
How do you find that?
It's disappointing in some aspects, but because you're there and you're still playing for Rangers and wearing the blue jersey, that was probably pride enough. But you'd rather have a run in the first team. But this gets back to my first contract after that season in the cup final. Went up to see Waddle, and there's Waddle sitting right in front of you, the big joke there. And he just went, we've got good news and bad news for you. What would you like first? And I went, well, you're always better with the bad news first. And he says, well, you're not going to get a regular game here. And I went, why not? He says, we've just discovered a player that can play in any position without upsetting the rhythm of the team. And that's how we're going to use you. There's no another club in Britain got a player like yourself. I went, but suppose if I'm playing well, surely I deserve a run. He says, well, that'll be decided in merit, and we'll decide that at the time. I went, right. I said, what's the good news? There's a 2-year contract, and I went, oh, for Christ's sake, I decided it, and that was it. And that's the way it went, you know.
Yeah.
Because your contracts were always with either Waddle himself or the two of them. That was it.
Yeah.
There were no agents in the days.
So this is the Rangers management team at the time, you know, very, very, you know, for all intents and purposes, godlike figures in the Scottish game, telling you they found an absolute gem, a player like yourself that can play virtually anywhere. But as you said, the kind of the bad news that you won't be playing regularly, that must have been quite bittersweet to take that.
It does, it kind of makes you think, but at the same time, you never gave it that much thought, you just signed.
Yeah.
Because you're always hoping that something would happen anyway. But to just be there was good enough for me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to kick a ball on a Saturday. Whether it was with the first team or whether it was reserves, just getting on the park and letting me kick that thing up and down the park. And really, that was it. But you had other French players there as well, like Alec Miller, Graham Fife and Eric Morris. There were other boys that played a couple of positions as well. But their loyalty to the club was unrenowned. I mean, you just done it and that was it. Just to be there was good enough.
So there was rumours circulating about West Brom maybe coming in for you. Do you want to tell the viewers that story?
Oh, you'll get a laugh at that one. Well, wee Bud, I think he got his transfer to West Brom at the time, and I think the manager was called Don Howe. I've actually got the right up to it in the house, and I was looking up just to see it, and Curry's were written in the Monday. A couple of players were going like, oh, what about that wee bit of West Brom in the papers and all that. I go up and see him about it, go up and see him. Because stupid wee bit the bullet, didn't I? Up I went the stairs up, jumped up the stairs like Conan the Barbarian. 3 minutes later, doing like Stan Laurel. You could not believe it. Press that buzzer, you don't get in. Then you press it again, and it goes green, and then right, that's it. I just opened the door, get my foot in, excuse the language, and this right arm just shot straight out. I can see it to this day. You fucking out. I went, but fucking out. And just as I went to close the door, I said, get in here and shut the door. And I went, right, I've seen the papers. I've had the phone call. I've spoke to the man. You're going nowhere. I'll own you. Rangers Football Club own you. We decide your future. And if I tell you yours again here at 2 in the morning, you better be here for fucking 1. Now clear off. And that was it. So we did the stairs, a couple of boys, how did you go? I said, oh, it was great, it was good chatting with it. Never got a bloody word done, you know what I mean? That was the deal, you know what I mean?
Aye. So, you've told us a story before we interviewed you last year, you sometimes had a little bit, if I don't mind me saying this, Jim, kind of love-hate relationship with the fans sometimes. Would that be a fair comment? Or?
Oh God, I don't know. To this day, I don't know who put it in the paper, but I don't think they actually expected the reaction that the fans were going to give me. Waddle asked me to sign a new contract. This was about 5 years into it, and they offered me a tenner. No,
I'm sorry.
A tenner.
That's mad. That's
Tell me
mental.
about that. A
That's
tenner.
crazy.
Jesus Christ, the paper boy was getting paid more than me. And I said, no, I'm not signing for that. You not signing? I said, no, for a tenner. Well, that's all I'm offering you. I said, well, I'm not signing. And he goes like that. Well, you want a transfer then? And I went, that could have thrown me a wee bit. And I says, well, I might need to think about it if it's going to get me some extra money. Well, I don't discuss it unless it's in writing. Off you go. So I went home that night. And I'm saying, I started to think about things. I was struggling to eat my bloody dinner. And I went, he's calling my bluff. Right, I'll do that. I'll write a letter out. See if I can chase him up for a bit, maybe 15 of them.
That's so crazy to think about.
Honestly, Christ, it was you couldn't
Negotiate now for £15 a week.
You think it was coming to his own pocket? This man was tight on my camel's arse in a sandstorm. You know what I mean? Could not believe it. But anyway, so I wrote a letter out, right? That was it. Wee Bobby took it, the wee doorman took up the stairs. And that was fine. Nothing was said that day. And I went home. And I'm sitting at my tea, 4:30, 5 o'clock-ish. The phone goes. Because the wife goes, Jim, it's Mr. Waddle. I just goes, hello. And all I heard was, what the fuck are you doing going to the papers? And I'm looking at this phone. I said, boss, I never spoke to the papers. The fucking hell you think you're doing? I said, boss, I didn't go to the papers. Well, fucking somebody did. And when I found out who it is, the phone just went dead. I shit myself. Never ate my dinner, never slept. If Ibrox was open at 6 in the morning, I'd have been there at 5 to 6. So off I went, back to Ibrox that day. Didn't get myself ready, saying something's going to happen. Then I get sent for. Press the buzzer. It goes twice as usual, you know. And I went, what the fuck are you doing going to papers? I said, boss, I didn't go to papers. And fucking somebody did. When I found out who it was, I'll boot that door quicker than they get in. Now get off and get to train. I don't want to hear any more about it. That was it, dead. Totally dead. Until we went in the tunnel that Saturday. And I'm up in the tunnel. And there's a wee veranda up above the tunnel where supporters can stand there and look. I'm chatting to these 3 guys. And I had a wee joke back and forth with them. And then these 2 other guys come by. One looked to it and then jumped back at me. They went, Denny, you man, what a fucking traitor. Nobody ever asked away for Rangers. And spat at me.
Oh my God.
And 2 of the other 3 that was having a wee chin like me started up. I said, time to go out of here. So I went to the dressing room. Coming out the tunnel to the game, could hear a couple of boos in the terracing and up the stand. But week by week, every time I played it get worse. And eventually it was just a hardcore. But as I said, to this day, I don't know who put it in the papers. Whoever it did, finished me more or less at Ibrox. Though I tried to fight it, but it's difficult. People say it shouldn't bother you, but it does bother you. Because you're not only thinking about yourself, you're thinking about your pals, your family,
of course,
what stick are they getting. But as I said, the person that put it in the papers probably didn't think that was the reaction that would happen. But they done me in big time.
Right. So just try to translate that to the modern day then, when you see Rangers now, obviously we're going through a bit of a, well, I suppose politely would be a sticky patch. Do you have sympathy then for the players sometimes when they might be getting booed at half time or full time, or do you not have any sympathy? Tell us your thoughts on that.
I do have sympathy in some respects, but at the end of the day, if you're showing that you're giving 100% and working hard, the fans will stick with you.
Yeah.
But if they look as if you're not trying, they expect to go on your case, and you've got to expect that, because that's what they're paying the money for. And when you look at Rangers shouldn't be where they are. Though we had a couple of wee things in our day at the start of seasons, but as long as you showed that you're willing to work hard, the fans would stay with you. And that's the thing. But I've not watched Rangers at all. And football has changed since our day. In our day, if the ball started back there, the attack's finishing there. Very seldom it would go back. Nowadays, it's up level with the box and then get sent 40 yards back to fall back. Pin in the box, that's where your strikers want the ball.
Yeah. So your time at Rangers comes to an end then. Sounds like a bit of a whimper rather than a fanfare. So you left Rangers for Hearts, I believe?
I did, aye. Rangers sold me to Hearts. The Rangers bought me for £250 tax, £150 signing fee, and then they sent me for about 36 or something like that grand to Hearts. And I ended up playing about 8 different positions with Hearts as well.
But I think you played a couple of seasons at Hearts, and you played quite a few games for Hearts, so...
I did, aye, I don't think it was ever dropped. But the Hearts fans were brilliant, don't get me wrong, they were absolutely great to me. But Alec McDonald came as well to Hearts, and Alfie Coyne came, and that's why we called it Rangers 13.
Yeah.
And wee Donny was actually quite funny, because it was Bobby Moncur was the manager, and Donny obviously signed to come out to the dressing room, and I'm sitting there and he goes, don't mind me asking you, what did you get in wages? You know, everybody at Hearts was on the same wage at the time, and of course I knew if I gave Donny a couple of the extra bits, I said, oh, I get £15 more than this and £20 more than that. See, before the finish, Donny was right lying that corridor, hammering on Moncur's door. I mean, how you tell us everybody was the same wage? Jim Denny's a line there's get. Is that who you spoke to? Donny went, oh, I know. So I'd set him off. And that was it. But we Donny's a great wee guy to train with too. See that Gullen was something else. Especially.
Talk about briefly your career after football if you don't mind, but just to kind of finish off your playing career if that's okay, just focusing on Rangers because obviously it's Gers TV.
Oh, absolutely.
Just kind of two-part questions. Biggest regret, but best memory of Rangers?
Biggest regret was them selling me on. My biggest regret was not getting a regular first team game. That was it. And losing the Scottish Cup final.
Yeah.
But the other one, of course, is the Cup Winners' Cup. Being there at that occasion, that was something else. And being on the bench, you can't wipe these memories away. I mean, you see the characters that was in the team at the time, and it took the team right through there. Though there were a couple of disappointments with Ronnie breaking his leg and Bomber getting injured in the training the day before. But it was some occasion.
Yeah.
I just hope this team in the future can do the same and maybe wipe that out, but if not, it just keeps going. So
yeah, this is true.
So
you played junior for a couple of years after Hearts. You went to teams like Troon, I believe, and I think you were Player of the Year actually. I've done my research here.
Troon, Campus Slang, May Ball was the manager, Irvin Vixer was the manager. Irvin Vix was the first one that gave me the taste of it. That really went well. But as I said to the players, you'll see that in some of the stuff I'll give you, that you only want to get out of this game but you put into it. And I must admit, every player that I worked with in my time, well, they gave me 100%. I could not argue with them.
Good. So you stayed in football then, and you kind of moved into coaching and
moved into the coaching. I was doing the statistics a way back after we played Cologne.
Yeah.
Cologne was the one that kind of woke me up a wee bit. It says, look, there's something fundamentally wrong with your game. And that's where John Gregg, I always said, quit management too early. John Gregg was going to go down that road.
Yeah,
that's the feeling I got.
He did try and come in and go down that European route, didn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think he stayed management long enough. I think he'd have been a great manager. And absolutely, he went to Everton, played for the back, and I could see the way he was going. And he just quit too early for me. And that Cologne game, I mean, it was some result, a shitty goal we lost. But when you see Big Greggy after the game, what a result. He's pacing up and down the training room. And he's going like that to everybody, calm down. He hadn't eaten his cigar, man. I thought he started to eat it. He's telling me, but I've never seen a guy, and that to me showed you what Rangers was all about. But Big Greggy was, oh, this is what it is.
Yeah, good. So coaching then, you went into coaching, do you tell us who you went, what you did coaching wise or development wise after your playing career?
When I went into the coaching side, the way I started to look into it, the two teams that I concentrated on was Ajax and the Dutch international team. And this is the way I went with Irvin Vix. When I first went to them and they asked me to sign take on the manager's job, I said, what kind of strips you got? They said, we've got a blue, a red and a tangerine white. And I went, what about change it tangerine white? And they went, oh, that's because you're a Protestant. There's nothing to do with that. I says, let's see it. So we went in the training park, we get three boys in, same height, same physique. We put the jerseys on, go out and fold their arms. And I says, right, tell me what one looks more physical and more professional and 100% went tangerine white. And that's the way we went. So then I brought the players in And I says to him, right, after a weekend of thinking how I'm going to work as a manager and a coach, right boys, this is it. We're going to train you exactly the way Ajax gets trained, the way the Dutch international team gets trained. It's going to be hard, it's going to be professional. You'll wear a shirt and a tie on a Saturday, just the way they did at Ibrox. And I says, if you don't think you can hack it, tell me now and I'll let you go. But they all stood by me. And that was the way we went. And I think my record still stands here, 16 games, undefeated. And I did the exact same with every other team I get that I went to. This is how we go. St Mirren Reserves youth team, third in the Premier League. Apparently that was the highest they'd ever been, Stranraer, the league and the Challenge Cup. I mean, these things work. But you've got to believe in the work. But you've also got to have the players to give you 100%. And if you do that and treat them with respect that they deserve, then they give you that back. You'll always have the odd player that will make your job a nightmare. But as I always said, give me a player that doesn't want to work, you'll give me a problem. Give me a worker and I'm not a player with them.
Good. You've done some interesting research and obviously some stat-based stuff as well. I think you told us the last time an interesting statistic that the ball's only in play for about 20 minutes a game or something, or 20 minutes a half or so.
We'll see that in some of the stats I've got you. I'll not mention the teams. Well, I suppose I could. Dundee United and Aberdeen take Portland Lithgow. There's over 130 set pieces in both of the games. So if you multiply that with the time it takes the ball to come back and play, even 20 seconds, then you take that away for 90 minutes. You're going to do well if you find 50 minutes a game.
Yeah.
And that's the way we are looking at it. And people, if you ask people when we did our coaching stuff like that, how long does a game last? 90 minutes. Is it split into some? It's 2 halves of 45 minutes. I didn't look at it that way. Every time the ball went out, the game stopped. So if you had, say, 130 set pieces, you had 130 small-sided games. That was the way we were looking at it. Where the possession was going, what a right back would do with the ball at World Cup level or European level, and what our right backs were doing, what was the wingers doing at that level. And we were putting all this together, comparing the best wingers and strikers and defenders, goalkeepers included, and comparing what we were getting here. And you'll see that in some of the stuff I've gave you.
What was the reaction to that then from some of your fellow
here in Scotland? Poor.
Yeah.
Poor. For Real Madrid and the other ones in Eindhoven, much better. Eindhoven actually took 5 of my books away.
So I was going to say, so not only did you focus on Scotland, but you spent some time overseas or doing stuff for clubs abroad? No,
the biggest mistake I ever made in my professional career as a coach was not going to Stoy Bucharest. They invited me and my assistant Graham Smiley, who works at Ibrox by the way, to go for 2 weeks, all expenses paid, to train them for 2 weeks with our stuff.
Yeah.
They filmed our training at St Mirren. Believe it or not, they were playing Rangers the next night. And if Rangers had somebody there in the stand watching them training, they'd have stopped one of the goals, because one of their goals came from a move they were working on. But their shooting that night was phenomenal. And that to me was a warning. But the manager, if I remember right, his first name sounded his second name, Dimitris or something like that. He asked his interpreter if he could film your training exercises going. It was all short stuff. We went, when you go. And it was after that, he filmed it all and we explained what we're doing and how it gets done. They invited us to come to Bucharest for 2 weeks. We never took it. St Mirren Reserves and youth team were going for the leagues at the time, were doing well.
Yeah.
And we went, if we went away, the boys might lose this. And we never took it. Biggest mistake we ever made.
Did you ever get offered anything else, or did you ever think about doing anything else, like maybe another management job, or?
No. If somebody wanted me to manage, fine, I might have maybe think about it. I prefer the coaching side. The management side, there's too much stuff going on in the office. I've not got time for that. I want to take a young boy and take him up that step and make him a better player. That was it. Boy, Mark Campbell, that I had at Stranraer, what a centre half this young boy would be. He eventually got sold on to some other club and done his cruciate. That done him in. But what a young boy. Used to take him for extra training, after training. Him and I for 15 minutes working in his passing. I used to call him Big Slack. And believe it or not, every time you get like a sure, only hot water left, it was cold. And I says, well, the quicker you get better with your passing, the quicker we'll get warm water. And that was the way it was. It was just trying to make things simple for boys. that if you've got a ball, let that do the work for you. And I used to do that in training with everybody. We'd go to a warm-up, and the first thing I do is go all the players into a circle and put the ball in the middle and hold it.
Yeah.
And nobody say nothing. You know who hears the players breathing? Then I'll say, who's the fastest player we've got? You'll always get a cocky wee bugger. Well, that's me, mate. So I would put a player maybe, say, 20 yards away, even 18, and I would stand with the ball. And I put the ball at my feet and says, right, you've got a boy there, another player there. You're going to race the ball to that player, but you must go the full distance. And he'd go and stand beside me. And what are you looking at me for? I'll make you say go. Ah, you go when you want. In fact, I might take another couple of steps. You'll only take a couple of steps and he's ready to go, so you're ready for him. The minute he takes off, I send the pass to this boy. We must go the distance, but when the ball reaches this other player, we mark exactly where this young boy is. So we put the ball in. So we're 3 yards for this guy. We bring him back, and I'll play the ball to him. He plays the ball back to me, but he's got to do the 2 runs. And you'll find that when they run back, the cone's practically in the same area. By the time the distance is new for that cone to me. So then I'll play the ball to this guy, and he's going to dribble it back. That young boy's still to catch. And you'll see the 3 cones within a yard and a half of one another, but the distances are increasing. Then we put him in for the shuttle, and that's the best one. So we put him in for the shuttle, and he constantly keeps going, so we feed it, feed it, feed it, feed it. But by the time it comes back to me, he's still got a length to run. So the minute he comes back in, we get everybody to queue in a circle, put the ball in the middle. What do you hear? Who is that? Well, it's not the ball, it's me. I says, well, what does that boy tell you? It's ready to go again. Let the ball do your work and don't do unnecessary running, which I found in some games with some Scottish international players.
It sounds like there might be a job for you Irish just now. Things are going with the training. I'm not sure what the coaching techniques are.
I have no idea. I wouldn't criticise coaching. I can be doing a public part and watch a guy coaching young boys, and that's the hardest coaching job in football, is to coach young kids at a young age, because these kids have no idea what they're actually doing. And that's why I always say that when you're giving them an exercise, explain to them why they're doing the exercise and where in the game they might find the exercise, so their mind's developing as well as their skill. And that's the way we went.
Okay. Absolutely fascinating, Jim. I could sit and ask you questions all night, but I think
you're not paying me enough. No.
Well, they're certainly not paying you big bucks that I was. The 30 certainly not. They're certainly not your £35 a week, Jim.
Absolutely.
But it's absolutely fascinating again, Jim. We'll take a pause here.
You're welcome.
And thank you so much for coming down again. We'll take a wee break and let you get a wee drink of water or something, okay?
Oh, Christ, it's water now. It was ginger and mineral. Christ,
downgraded. Thanks very much.
I broke my biscuits.
Thanks very much, Jim.
Oh, you're welcome. Absolutely welcome.